And Joey might have done it. But a lot of people could have done it. A lot of people did. Blinky Barry. Well, Blinky Barry worked in the highway department, and he had a son by the name of Ricky Barry. Now we're back to almost the present day. I work with Blinky in the highway department, and that's a good nickname. I just keep using that name because it's not part of the story, except he was the father of Ricky Barry. And Ricky lived in the 20s, well, maybe not the 20s, the 60s and 70s. And he was a character. When he was down to Hyannis in the Velvet Hammer, which is a bar room. I don't know if it's still there. But after last call, he went out to the sidewalk. And there was a policeman arresting a sailor. And Ricky says to the sailor, "Unhand that man. He's my client." And they've never seen each other. And the cop says, "What do you mean your client?" He says, "I'm a lawyer. You can't treat that man like that." He says, "I'm arresting him because he's drunk." He says, "You can't arrest him." He says, "I'm going to arrest him, and if you want him, you'll see him tomorrow when he comes to trial." And he says, "All right, I will." And he told him where it was going to be at the Blacksville courthouse. So Ricky that night calls up a friend of mine who will remain nameless, because he was a lawyer, and he says, "I got a case tomorrow," says Ricky. He says, "I got to find out how do you defend a drunk." And he says, "What do you mean you got a case?" He says, "Well, I'm defending a guy down here in Barnstable." He says, "You're not a lawyer. You can't defend anybody. That's a felony to pose as a lawyer." He says, "No, never figure it out." He says, "Well, what should I do? How should I proceed?" And my friend says, "All right, if the cops show up, ask for continuance. If the cop doesn't show up, ask for a decision." Okay? He says, "All right, I got it." So now Ricky goes out. The next morning, he buys a suit because he had shorts and a t-shirt. And he walks into the courtroom, gets the guy's name, says, "I'm his lawyer." He says, "What do you mean he's his lawyer?" He says, "I'm a member of the firm of Barry and Bates." "Where is that?" 21 Court Street, Boston. Look at his flag. Well, all right. So he comes in, the cops didn't show up, he asked for a decision. Since the cops didn't show up, the guy was released. And the sailor says to Ricky, "Thank you so much for taking the time. How much do I owe you?" And he says, "Nothing, I'm not a lawyer, so don't worry about it." On Christmas Eve, as the children were gathering around the tree, they would say, "Honey, I'll be right back. I got to make a run. I got to go down to the grog shop because they have a buffet." And the Greek would be pissed if he knew I didn't show up. Because they go down there all the time, and he puts it out especially for us. And you got to go, you know. But I'll be right there. So it was about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So Jackie Barry said that to his wife, Beanie. And down to the grog shop they go, and it's a beautiful feast. They have 5 kinds of cheese and oysters and lobsters. It was wonderful. And in the grog shop at the time was Ricky Barry. And they got to drinking and talking. Ricky said, "Would anybody like to go for a ride in my airplane?" Well, Ricky had an airplane because he was in the drug business. And it was parked out in Marshfield. So Jackie Stark said, "Yeah, sounds like a pretty good idea." So they went next door to Bailey's and bought a case of beer, each. Threw it in the back of the car, drove down to Marshfield, and hopped in his airplane and went for a ride. And it was fun. You'd throw the empty cans out the window and make fun noise as they fell. And after an hour and a half, Ricky looks down and says, "Jesus Christ, we're out of gas." And Jackie says, "Well, where are you?" He says, "I'll be at the end of 5 hours." So they get on the phone and they're saying, "Mayday, where are we?" It wasn't like up in the balloon, they were up in an airplane, drunk and lost. And they finally got in touch with the Canadian Air Force. They were up off the Gulf of Maine. And in New Brunswick, this network swings down in front. Well, there was an Air Force base there, and they got in touch with them. They said, "You can't land here. You have no reason." "Well, we're out of gas. We're going to land somewhere." So, "All right, you'll have to come in." So they lined the runway with foam. So So, for safety. So they landed in the foam. And they tumbled out of the sand and started throwing foam at each other. And they were promptly arrested by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Now, would you like to be a fly on the wall? So now it's midnight. Beatty doesn't know where Jackie is. Telephone me.